Hi, I'm Logan Lance, your YPR Chair. 2020, what a year. This is not how we anticipated bringing you value-added professional development content. However, we've all figured out how to adapt to this time in our lives. Our hope is that you'll be able to take something from each video of our series that will help your day-to-day life and professional development. We ask that you share and comment any questions that you have. This will help create content between everyone, as well as our speakers will be reviewing any questions that you have and answering them. I want to thank everyone that helped make this video conference happen. We are excited about it and hope you enjoy. Thanks.
Hello, from your 2021 YPR incoming chair. I'm Dr. Devin Smith, the current medical director at VCA Ridge Road Animal Hospital. Although we can't meet in person this year for our YPR annual conference, I hope that you'll still attend virtually. We have an incredible lineup of local speakers, business leaders, and entrepreneurs that I think will both challenge you personally and professionally. As your incoming chair, I hope that this world calms down in a few months and we can start meeting together again. But even if that doesn't happen, we are planning a lot of virtual and interactive events so that you can get more value out of your membership. We also plan to come up with new ways that we can help you build relationships with your fellow YPR members and create bigger networks for yourself and your business. With all that being said, I hope to help you fall more and more in love with Rockwall. It's business leaders, it's businesses, and it's charities, and I want to do that all together. Can't wait to see you again in person or virtually. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Logan and Devin. Logan, I want to send a special thank you to you for your leadership with this group over the last couple of years. We definitely want to be in the position we are without you. And Devin, you have some big shoes to fill. I hope you're up for that challenge. It's my pleasure to introduce our first speaker. Now, if you haven't heard Gus Antos speak before, you're in for a treat. He has been our presenting sponsor for the last several years of this conference, and each year he comes with more and more content that just really hits home with our audience, and it's going to be something that you can take away and use in your not only professional but your personal life as well. So without further ado, Gus, take it away.
Hey guys, it's Gus Antos here. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Miss seeing you in person. It's one of my favorite things I get to do every single year. That you guys have invited me. And so thank you for inviting me again. And in this odd year, we're still going to get it done. So I'm going to try to keep this as quick and pointed as possible. I'm here at my office. And so if somebody walks in, we're just going to deal with it. So hopefully all you guys are making it through this crazy time. And I know that we were going to talk about unmasking your potential. And so I just jotted down a couple of notes and things that I think about a lot and maybe that will help you guys. And so start with a fun little short true story. So in 1946 in Jackson, Mississippi, there was a packed courtroom, and it was the final day of an ongoing trial for nearly 2 weeks. And a man named John Klein was on trial, and he was the defendant, and he was accused of first-degree murder of his wife. You see at his home, there had been found a murder weapon, there had been found blood, but the wife's body had never been found. And he had no alibis or anything else. And it was automatically assumed that he must have killed her. And so absolutely no body. His attorney, a guy named Frederick Porter, was a tall guy, and he was handling this case, and it was the final summation. Final summation is when you talk to the jury for the final time and convince them why your client didn't do it. And so he said to them one thing. He goes, as a juror, your job is to know and to prove. I'm going to prove to you there's reasonable doubt that my client didn't do this. He said, in fact, 30 seconds from now, at the back of this courtroom, those courtroom doors are going to fling wide open, and in's going to come my client's wife. And he goes, so 15 seconds from right now, you will have absolutely no doubt because the body's never been found. She's alive. We found her, and she's going to walk through those doors in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The doors fling open. Every single person in the courtroom turns around and looks, and in comes nobody. And his whole point was the very fact that you thought that she may be walking through that door proves that you have reasonable doubt my client couldn't have done it. The jurors leave and they deliberate for something like an hour and come back. Judge asks for the decision. The clerk gives it to him, opens it up, says guilty on all accounts. And the judge asks and says, how did you guys come to this? And the lead juror says, well, everybody in the room said he wasn't guilty, but there was one juror number 7, that said everybody in the courtroom looked back there to see if his the client's wife was going to walk through the defendant, except one person in this entire courtroom, and it was your defendant. He didn't ever turn around because he knew that there was no way she was walking through that door. And it's a fun little story, and it ties into, I think, what we're talking about right now, which is often I think that we as people and business people, we're some of the only people that don't actually believe what we're asking everyone else to believe. And what does that mean? Maybe it's that you're going on for a job interview. Maybe it's you're going on a sales pitch. Maybe it's a presentation to your team. You're asking them to believe in something that you may not actually believe yourself, just like that defendant did. And so I have a couple of really short points that I'm going to share with you guys. And I think that they're really relevant, especially to the times that we live in right now. So the first thing that I think makes you believable, and that's what I want to talk about at this point, is having confidence. And confidence is not this thing where you walk around, you beat your chest, and you pretend to be something that you're not. The difference between confidence and arrogance is wanting somebody else to believe in you. Confidence is believing in yourself. The fact is, though, when you're confident, other people actually believe in you as well. But confidence is not something you can fake. And what I often find is that if I ask every single one of you right now, wherever you are, I said, I was going to hire you for a month. And whatever service it is that you currently provide, I'm going to hire you for a month. Write down a number on a piece of paper and tell me what that would cost, what I should pay you to do that. And if we all did that together and I went around the room and asked each one of you what those numbers are, it would be interesting, because what that number reflects is the value that you think that you provide. And some of you in that room, I would actually probably pay more, but you don't believe it about yourself. And I think that that's what the big difference is here, is when you believe it about yourself, then other people start to believe it about you. So here's 3, 4, 5 things that I think give us confidence. Constant learning. Whenever I interview somebody, one of the first questions that I ask is, I'll just start off right away with, so tell me what you've been learning about or what you've been reading. If somebody can't give that to me, that means that I don't know that they are interested in constant learning. Because when you're interested in constant learning, like what we're doing here, you get so much more information, and the more information you have, the better you are and the more confident you become. And so, I look back at 5 years ago, and we, as people, 5 years ago, I currently believed whatever I knew then was the right thing. But what's curious is, if I look back 5 years ago, I go, there was a lot of things I didn't know then. So that same reasoning has to say there must be a lot of things I don't know now. And because of that, if you could see my office here, it's stacked with books. I'm constantly listening to people. I'm constantly talking to people. I'm constantly trying to learn. And I think that as we do that as humans, because we actually gain confidence because we have more information to lean back on. So constant learning is a huge thing that gives us confidence. And when you're confident, you're more believable, and it unmasks your potential to go out into this world and be successful in whatever environment you want that to be. My next thing in 2003, there was a British cycling team, and they hired a guy named Dave Brailsworth. To give you some background, the British cycling is maybe equivalent to like American golf or football or something like that over here. It's a big deal, the cycling team over there. And since 1908, 1908, over 100, basically right at 100 years, they had won one gold medal. And they had not won one Tour de France in their entire history of 110 years of doing that. So they weren't just awful, they were terrible. And if you've heard this story before, I think it's good for us to constantly be reminded of this. They were so bad that the sponsors were literally canceling them, not because they didn't want to pay them any more money. It was because you guys are so bad, do not put our name on anything that you do, because it actually makes people want to not use our brand. And so they hired this guy named Dave Brailsford. And what he did is he had this law, what he called the aggregation of marginal gains. And what that meant is if you can just get 1% better, just 1% better at a handful of things every single day, every single month, every single year, as you aggregate those, it's exponentially better. It's not 1 + 1 = 2, it's 1 + 1 = 11. And so what does that mean? What did he do? It was literally down to, okay, let's test the fabrics that our riders wear. And if we can make them 1% more efficient against the wind, against the resistance of the wind, that's a win for us. Let's test the nutrition. If we can become 1% more efficient with that, that's a win for us. Let's test their sleep. If they're currently getting 7 hours of quality sleep, if we can just get 1% better in that, then that's a win. To the point where they're testing the pillows, they're sleeping in oxygen chambers, they're doing all this different stuff to try to get 1% better in each one of these things. And as people, I think that we always want to do these big, huge gains, and it makes us feel great. But if we do these handful of little tiny things day in and day out, then it makes a gigantic difference. And so that, I think, for us is what people that is it's making little tiny right decisions day in and day out. And so the end result of that was in 2007, 4 years after they hired him, they had from 2007, and I'm getting my statistics here in my mind, 2007 to 2017, over those 10 years, they won 178 world championship medals, 66 Olympic medals, and 5 Tour de France's. Over that course, they were the single best race team that existed on the face of the planet. And this guy came in and said, all we're going to do is get better at a handful of things. What most race coaches would have done is, we're going to get new bikes, we're going to get new riders, we're going to get this, we're going to get that. I just encourage all of us to look at our lives and say, what can we get 1% better at today that we currently exist in? Is that be 1% more efficient with my time, make 1% better decisions with my eating, make 1% better choices in learning and reading and doing stuff like that. There's a guy named Jim Rohn that I got to see, ROHN. He passed away. Some of you guys have probably heard of him, but I got to see him when I was probably 20 years old. And he had a couple of quotes, but one of them stuck with me, which is success is simple decisions repeated every single day, while failure is simply a few errors in judgment repeated every single day. I know I have some errors in judgment during coronavirus. My diet and along with that has gone to errors in judgment almost every single day, and I got to get that back on track. But it is really the truth. If you'll commit to those little tiny decisions every single day, they actually make you so much better. And when you are doing those things, you become more confident. And when you're more confident, you'll end up being more successful. Third thing is mentor and coach. I know the past couple of years we've talked about this. Brady Hill, who I know is tied into this organization, recently asked me about helping him find somebody. All I can say is that if whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, whatever it is, I don't care if it's a closer walk with God from a spiritual standpoint, if that's important to you, being a better parent, being better in business, being better at sales, being better in training and sports, whatever it is absolutely insane not to find somebody who's a little bit further down the road than you are. And so I'll give you two just really, really, really simple examples. If you notice in life, as you're about to make a decision, there's always a fork in the road. You can go this way and you can go this way. If you just stay at that fork in the road just for a minute, at some point, you usually will find somebody coming back down one of those paths, and they'll say, I don't know what you're doing and I don't know what your goals are, but you should not go down this path if you're trying to achieve this. I don't know what the other path has, but I can tell you, do not repeat this thing. And that, as humans, saves us a lot of time and energy. And so mentors and coaches have that unique ability of helping us do that. I was at an awards presentation, and the winner got up and he gave a speech. And in his speech, he said something, and he quoted it from somebody else, but I thought it was really good. He said, the secret of business is making good decisions. And he said, and somebody will ask, well, how do you make good decisions? And he said, experience. And then someone said, well, how do you get experience? And he said, making lots of bad decisions. Mentors and coaches help us avoid making those bad decisions so we can make the good decisions faster, which saves us time. And so I just highly encourage you guys, being in business, and that's what we're talking about here, is no different than training for a sport. You know, some of us go to church because we want to listen to somebody that has a better perspective, a wiser perspective on something. Some of us will go to a gym and there's a coach or a trainer there. Some of us will ask somebody about, hey, what do you do when your kid's doing this? And you ask somebody maybe who's dealt with that before. So I encourage you to do that same thing. So this next one is called belief. Belief is one of the craziest things that we have in life. The human brain is the most complex, elaborate machine ever created. And I'm not one of these new age people that believes if you say stuff every single day, then it'll like magically happen. But what I'm going to share with you something is that if you do this, it will radically change your life. It's unbelievable. Say there's 100 of you watching this. I bet only 2 of you actually follow through with this. And I've actually done this and I've actually seen it work. This came from a friend of mine that actually trained salespeople. And what it is this: pick something that you want to change in your life, write that something down for 40 days. Write it down 40 times in the morning for 30 days straight. So what does that look like? I am going to eat healthy today. And you just write that down 40 times. I am going to eat healthy today. And you do that every single morning for 30 days. That's a hot topic for me because I have not eaten healthy probably one day since coronavirus started, but I'm going to start soon. Write that down. I am going to eat healthy today 40 times for 30 days straight. At the end of that 30 days, you will be shocked at the power of what your brain has now committed to and the choices that it now makes and the difference it makes in your life. Maybe you need to write down, maybe if you make 100 phone calls, then that means you'll book 3 appointments or whatever that is for you. I don't know. Write down, I will make 100 phone calls today. Whatever it is that you're wanting, and it needs to be something that's achievable. Don't put down there, I will make $5 billion a month. Unless you think you have a pathway. What I'm really talking about is making choices that we don't make, but the discipline of writing them down, and there's something that happens in your brain. It's a very powerful thing. I've even heard of people doing this that says, I will make X amount of money this month, someone that's in sales. And because of doing that, their brain now engages in activities that it wouldn't otherwise. We're talking about belief. The reason we're talking about belief is when you believe something about yourself and it actually happens, that you become more confident. The more confident you become, the more successful you're going to be. The last thing I put that I want to talk about in my just mentally here is figure out your why. If you're struggling to reach your goals, if you're struggling to get something done, if you're struggling to find traction, generally what I find is your why isn't the right the right why for you. So what do I mean by that? If you told me to run into a burning house, I would just say, no, I'm not doing that. That sounds awful. I wouldn't do it. If you say my family's in there, I'll be the first person in, last person out, because the why matters. So that's a drastic example. But what does that look like at work? Maybe you absolutely hate doing your job. Maybe you hate going in. Maybe you hate all types of things about it. If you change your why to what is important to you, you'll actually do things that you wouldn't do normally. Whenever I played sports, the why for me was always, I'm extremely competitive. I like winning. I will do anything as far as it goes with working out. I'll do anything. Commitment. You want me to wake up at 4 a.m. You want me to do this. You want me to do that. I'll do it because I want to go win. Well, now I don't compete in anything. So what does that look like? I don't do any of that stuff because my why isn't there. Apparently, just being a little bit overweight isn't a why enough for me to motivate me to do something different. I like competing. At work, my why isn't about money. I'll tell you guys, if your why is about money for a long period of time, you will eventually generally become burned out because that, as humans, doesn't actually fulfill us generally. So my why at work is actually impacting and enriching people. So because I care about that thing so much, I will come in early. I'll have meetings. I'll make tough decisions. I'll do stuff that I don't like doing because my why matters to me so much. So for you guys, if you're struggling, I just encourage you to figure out what your why is and then dig into that, because I actually think that will change your entire perspective. The last thing I just want to leave you with here is something I hear sometimes is life isn't fair. And life isn't fair sometimes. I'm not going to sit here and say that it is. But generally in the professional world, life isn't only fair, it's incredibly fair. And what do I mean by that? Almost always, we have, throughout our different organizations, maybe over 1,000 team members at this point, I never meet any of them that wake up, that work hard, that put in the energy, that invest in themselves, that life doesn't return them really good results. I know for me that's been true. I know for you that's been true. Life is incredibly fair. If you do the things that you need to do to become successful, if you have the discipline, if you do the things that other people won't do, if you get up early, you stay up late, you resource yourself, you make the right decisions, life is incredibly fair. It will return to you a result that is incredibly awesome. And, something that I always think about is the secret to being great is nobody remembers normal. And normal is what everybody else in your occupation is probably doing. So if you want something to be great, it's not going to be like what everybody else has done. I was hoping in person, I had several books I wanted to hand out, but one of them is The Little Red Book of Selling. Little Red Book of Selling. If you've never read it, you should. It's all about not being normal, and encourage you guys to look at that. So throughout history, there's been this, and this is something that we talk about up here, and I'm just going to share it with you guys and then jump off. There's been this thing that leaders have done, and it's called burn the boats. And so over the last 3,000-4,000 years of civilization, there's been a handful of leaders that you can read about throughout history. And three of them, I'll just give you the example. And what it looks like is this. The Vikings, as they would move into a new territory on their boats, as soon as they got off their boats, they would set them on fire. And so just imagine a group of people getting off a boat and then completely burning them as they're running into battle. As that is the background, their enemies would be scared to death because they would say, these people are absolutely crazy. This means they are not going back. They are 100% confident they're about to win. And you never want to be in a fight with someone who's not afraid to die and who also thinks that they're going to win. And so that's what the Vikings did. Cortez, as he would conquer new lands, he would get off the boats and they would burn all of their boats, but they did it for a different reason, as he didn't want his men to become complacent. And he would say, we are not just going to occupy this land and then just get fat and happy. We are going to continue to press forward. There is no going back. And so that's what Cortez would do. And then Alexander the Great, they would get off the boats, and they were often, you've seen the movies about Greece or Rome and Sparta and all this stuff. Well, what they would do is they would often be in battles where they were outnumbered and different situations like that. He would get off the boats and just burn them so that his men had no opportunity to be fearful. And so no opportunity for, well, this isn't going to work out. Maybe we should go back. They would just burn them. So one thing we say around here all the time is just burn the boats. Whatever it is for you, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, figure out what your boat is, whether it's motivation, whether it's fear, whether it's just confidence. Burn the boats is something that we talk about around here. You'll see it in a lot of our hallways and different stuff like that. So I hope this was great. I really was looking forward to being there in person. Sorry that wasn't able to happen. Always feel free to reach out, Gus, Gus, at callmilestone.com. You guys are an incredible organization. Thanks for your commitment to always getting better. And I hope to see you guys soon in person. See you later.
Thank you, Gus. That was great as always. If you enjoyed that, I hope that you share it with your friends, coworkers, anyone that you think would gain value from that presentation. We have several more days of speakers just like Gus who are going to add value to your life, both personally and professionally. Tomorrow, we have a presentation from Kathleen Queller, the Director of Communications at the City of Dallas. I want to once again thank our sponsors, our presenting sponsor, Milestone Electric, American National Bank, Southwest Kia Rockwall, Guarantee Bank, and of course, 4D IT Solutions. Hope to see you tomorrow.